all around us. It's in our minds. It's in our spaces.
Melissa is a hopeful who simplifies organizing.
Angel is a curious idealist who clarifies complexities.
Together, we take on the mental overwhelm and cluttered spaces to spark conversations that lead to clearing chaos.
So I just want to say, I really appreciate how you owned your own story.
Here's my colors, kids.
And I think that's a great place to start because ownership is such a hard thing for people to do. People don't want to take ownership of anything. They don't want to take ownership. You see something wrong, you want to like turn and pretend like it's not there. Like, I can't see this.
Right. Don't look at the accident.
Don't look. Like, oh, did I cause that? No, it doesn't matter. I'm just not going to look at it and pretend it's not there. No, ownership is, it happens all the time. Like, people don't want to take ownership of their job or anything that's outside the lane of their job. Like, I see it all the time. People will see something's wrong. And then that phrase that bothers me so much, it's not my job. That's not my role. It's not my job.
Well, now, see, I will say that at the Muggle job, but I say it in the fashion of, I'm sorry that's frustrating, but that's out of my pay grade.
Context matters.
Yeah.
I will say that. But I think, see, I've gotten in trouble for going the opposite way. I don't think I've ever gotten in trouble for doing my job, but I have several times had a good talking to for, that's not your lane, Angel. That's not your lane. You need to stay in your lane. That's been some coaching that I've had in the past.
Well, the coaching I've had. That's the encouragement to shift the language, right?
Well, shift the language or shift the culture of where you're operating. I mean, I don't operate well in an environment where I'm instructed to stay in my lane. I just don't. Because if I see an opportunity to fix something or make something better, I want to tell somebody about it. Even if there's not something that I can do myself, I want to talk to somebody and be like, hey, I don't know if, I know this isn't technically my place, but I see an opportunity to make something better or easier for you. And I want to share that information, which you think would be a good thing. And now I think in the place that I'm at now, it is a good thing most of the time. It's old roles where I've gotten in trouble for that before.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned very quickly. Anytime I've been under new leadership or in a new role, I've learned very quickly when it's okay to say those things, and people are very clear with me when it's not okay to talk about stuff that's not in my lane.
No, read the room.
Yeah, but either way, I think taking ownership is such a huge part of any kind of role that you're in, whether it's in your role in a business or your role in a relationship or whatever the context is. I think there's a lot of ownership comes into play in a lot of big ways.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, ownership of, like, you have to know yourself. You have to know your abilities to control and self-control, but also the attributes you can bring to a situation, to a relationship, collaborationship,
whatever the ship is,
employmentship, whatever the ship is, you have to know your own strengths, your own weaknesses, and your own being. And I think, that's a hard journey
for anyone,
for anybody. And I know each situation is different, but knowing your own also means when you need to shut up. Mm-hmm.
Not everybody is good at finding that spot.
No.
And so I think conversational skills, a really great place to start when we talk about conversational skills is crucial conversations.
Yes.
It is an amazing book, an amazing framework for operating with other people. And honestly, this is one of those things. It's Crucial Conversations, Patterson, Grundy, McMillan, Switzler. I think that this book should be a standard part of our education system.
Yeah.
We learn how to write, we learn how to speak, we learn how to, put papers together and structure something that we're communicating out, but we don't necessarily learn how to listen or how to interact in difficult situations. It's not part of our standard schooling, which I feel like it really should be. Unless you count learning how to listen as shut up, sit down, and write notes, which I don't know that that's necessarily developing listening skills, but Crucial Conversations, I learned a lot from this class.
Yeah, and this was not planned, just so everyone knows. It just happened to be that we were talking about it and we happen to have the same thing. And I think that's a sign of us coming together on purpose.
So tell me a little bit about where were you when you went through this course? Where were you in your journey to learning how to communicate and interact with the world, and how did it change things for you or impact things for you?
For me, I actually took this a few years ago when I was starting my own business. So I was employed. So I actually took this course with my supervisor.
Nice.
So I think that in itself speaks volumes to the relationship we share at my muckle job, but also the understanding that it's not just employment, it's life skills. And so for me, starting a business and learning all sorts of new things that start with coming and owning a business, but also building relationships and reading the room and, shifting your language to find that common ground. I think all of that, this could not have come at a better time for me. What about you? When did you stumble into this?
You know what? Honestly, and I don't know that I've ever really talked about this with anybody. When I first got told, "Hey, you're gonna go to this course," I took it as an insult. I was like, I remember thinking internally, am I in trouble? Am I not good at communicating? Am I not a good listener? Why am I getting sent to this course? I thought it was something that I had done wrong. I found out later, this is a privilege, getting to go to this course or getting to learn these skills. And this is, I learned it's not just business skills, it's life skills. And so at first I didn't know what it was. I thought I was in trouble for something. And then I learned very quickly that it was something that all of our team was going through and that we were all going to develop in together. And I needed it more than I thought. I've always tried to be a good listener. I think the biggest piece that I took away from Crucial Conversations comes back to that ownership thing. And part of it is looking at a situation and separating the facts from the stories that we tell ourselves based on the facts. It was a huge, huge learning for me because I would see something happen, create a perception of what it was in my mind, and that perception was reality for me. I couldn't separate the facts from the story I was building based on those facts.
Yeah.
And so I probably went into a lot more situations than I even realized, thinking that this is what's going on and not really making it safe for the story to be different than the story I had created. And so it probably created more conflict than I really needed to have in those moments, because I didn't make it safe for it to be anything else. I had decided, and I can be stubborn when I decide to be stubborn. That face tells me that you might have some similarities. You're so full of it. For those only listening to the audio version, she said no, but she did nod her head yes.
Yes. I think it's a natural way of, I think it's just in our programming. Some people are programmed to be headstrong, stubborn speakers. right? Leaders in a sense. And, at moments, I'm fearful to just be like, here it is. Here's my thoughts. You're welcome to the world because you're going to get them either way. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Truth.
Thank goodness for courses like Crucial Conversations. Right?
For those on audio, we are both holding up our books and pointing at them. Crucial Conversations, Tools for Talking When the Stakes Are High. And actually, that brings me...
toolkit.
And the toolkit. That brings me to another thing, identifying what a crucial conversation actually is. And so this has come up a couple times. We only have so many, I'll say, cares to give in this world. And so we have to be super selective about what we choose to give a care about. And so part of defining what a crucial conversation is looking at, like, is this actually a crucial conversation? Is it actually something that I need to care about? And so in the book, they define crucial conversations as opposing opinions, strong emotions, and high stakes. Oof. And so another thing that I took away from reading this book that's really impacted my life is specifically the high stakes part. How high are the stakes? Is this something that I really need to care about, or is this something that I should just let go because it really doesn't matter as much as I think it does in this moment? Sometimes we put our minds on something and decide that it needs to be a certain way, and it really doesn't matter that much. And so I'm gonna go back to something that you said in our first episode. I think it was our first episode about the folding of the clothes with your son.
Oof. Uh-huh.
Like, you kind of had to have a crucial conversation with yourself in that moment. Like, okay, the stakes really aren't that high. If he doesn't want to fold his clothes, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, the conversations, like, sometimes the hardest conversations that are critical from day-to-day life are in your own head. And sometimes that's going, why does that even matter? Like, why does that even matter? Why? Why self does that matter? And when it comes down to it, it doesn't. Sometimes just, not to be a Disney princess because Elsa's not my girl, but let it go. Right? You need to come to Jesus in your own head, have that crucial conversation with self and be like, it doesn't matter. Next.
Realizing that the stakes are not that high.
Exactly.
Why am I only have so many cares to give. Why am I using one on this?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a waste of one. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's shift your energy, right? Like I think we've said that before. How do I intentionally want to spend my time? Do I care how your shirts are folded? Shoot. No.
Not so much.
Not so much. When the conversation is had in my own head, not so much.
Amen, sister.
Amen, sister.
I'm going to cheers with my Hakuna Moscato glass.
Amen. Oh, no. Yep. Moving forward, we may have to be, have that conversation ahead of time. Be like, is it a wine day? Because I feel like it's been a week. Yeah.
So we've talked about a couple different things within crucial conversations to kind of clear some of this chaos. Determining what a crucial is it actually a crucial conversation or not? Kind of taking ownership of our stories. What about making it safe? How do you make it safe for another person?
That, for me, that is actually a very heavy topic because I feel like each situation is different. I am a big proponent and believer and pusher for read the room. But is it a safe conversation that needs to be had with an adult or a child? I feel as if a spark coming up for us will be conversations and how we manipulate them based on the audience. So I know if I am talking to my son or one of his friends, I'm not going to pull questions from you. I'm not going to bring those. What do you want to be when you grow up? How come you did this? Why did you do that? How come you did this? I'm not going to pull that because I feel as if it's making an unsafe situation because I'm in attack mode. I'm in discover what's in your head mode instead of here's your safe space. If you feel the need to talk, here's your safe space. And my language that I use with my son, I actually shifted years ago when he was in elementary school. We had the blessing of him being in a shitty situation in the home because of the situation I was in. But we were blessed with his guidance counselor. And she said, look, here's the things that she brought to the table for our conversations to grow together to better, our being my son and I. She said, I gave him the permission to tell me, Mom, I need to tell you something. I don't want you to react. Or Mom, I want to tell you something. I would like your opinion from both sides of the table. That advice in itself made our conversations grow. Because him coming to me as a boy about a girl, I'm going to be like, ooh, you like her? But him coming to me as a boy going, Mom, I need to tell you something and I don't want you to react. Like, oh, okay, hold on. I'm ready. Right?
Wine glass in hand.
Because then if I want to respond, oh no, I can't because my mouth is full. And those key language points that we were blessed to receive from his guidance counselor, I kid you not, hands down, changed our conversation relationship.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But that made him feel safer to come to me in conversations. Now, if you're a grown adult, if we can't talk through ugly together, I'm not going to waste my time talking. Safe or not. Now, if this is a waste of my time, if this is not getting us anywhere in growth together, I'm out.
What are the situations? I'm trying to think of like what are the situations where, how do you know when to keep trying and when to give up? Like, because I've been in situations where I've attempted to have that crucial conversation and it led nowhere. It was me saying, hey, this is what happened based off of this. It makes it seem like this, but I want to understand your perspective. So can you tell me what your perspective is? Or if there's something that I'm not seeing here in this situation. And I've had situations where that's worked really well and it's opened up a dialogue, but I've also had situations where I got about 1/4 of it, or 1/4 of that sentence out before I got cut off and wasn't even able to finish speaking.
And to me, that right there is an unsafe situation. Mm-hmm. If I can't productively talk to you, have a conversation and say a sentence in full, then you're aggressive and I feel unsafe.
So do you just say, you're aggressive, I feel unsafe, and hang up the phone?
There's been times of where I don't even, honestly depends on the vibration. For me, I've been in that situation in a face-to-face. And if capable, I leave the space. But like, look, I'm not doing this, period. And I walk away. And if it's on the phone or verbal only, then it's the same thing. Clearly, you don't want to hear my side of this or have an adult talk. So bye, click. And it takes a lot of gumption, balls, knowledge, experience, language, conversations, all of these things are a combo of, or, too many of one to get to that point of knowing yourself to know, no, your opinion no longer matters to me because I feel unsafe or like this is unproductive and it's not serving me. Fine.
I've had a situation like that where I straight out had to say, like, I feel like you're not hearing me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get that version of I'm listening where they're really not listening to hear you. They're listening so that they can argue against whatever you're going to say, and it still doesn't feel safe. That was a previous job type situation that I was in, and it wasn't. I never felt safe, and I always felt like there was more that I needed to say. And in that moment, I would get so flustered that like I wouldn't even be able to get my thoughts out, even if space was provided enough for me to say what I needed to say. I couldn't formulate a coherent thought because I was so nervous about what the response was going to be because it wasn't safe.
Mm-hmm. So were you preemptively preparing for an argument?
Not at first. I think eventually it got to a point where I was always preparing for that to happen. And that was the point at which I just shut down. And it was me just basically like, yes, okay, no, short answer. Let me get done with this and get off the phone because I'm not safe in this space. And I'm only here because I need to be until I find a different space I can be in.
Yeah. Yeah. So what made you feel like you wanted to keep trying the conversation? You wanted to keep pursuing the conversation for some sort of productivity?
I think it was, well, for one, I'm an optimist who tends to believe and see the best in people. And so I don't think that person's intent was ever to make me feel any kind of way. And I think that intent maybe those actions maybe came from a place of insecurity or experiencing the same thing from maybe somebody that they were reporting to, or feeling that pressure. Maybe that was just a crap rolling downhill kind of thing. I'm not really sure exactly, but I tend to believe the best in people. And I don't think that there are many people in this world who genuinely have negative intentions in that kind of situation. And so I was genuinely trying to see things from that other point of view. And so I don't think that the intentions were bad. I think that the intentions were good. I think that person in that moment really thought that they were trying to help me. But they didn't know what they didn't know. But they didn't know because they weren't open to listening. And I think that's where our challenges came in.
So the intentions were set, but the conversations were lacking.
Yeah, I think so. But that's just my perception. I mean, again, I could be completely wrong because we never got to a point where we were able to openly communicate with each other in a way that was productive before the situation was no longer the situation. And so there could be pieces of the story that I still don't know and never will know. But I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's not where you are.
No. No, I'm in a better place now.
Yeah. Yep. And that's why we can have this space now. And we can have conversations.
Because we read, and we study.
We read, we study, and we talk through the chaos and find some clearing influences.
Yes.
I love it.
Me too. So when it comes to crucial conversations, what would you say is like the most important takeaway for you? Like if somebody's listening to this, they've never read the book, they've never taken the class, and they want to know like, what's the one thing that would help me more than anything else that they could take away from this? What do you think it would be?
I think it's a combo of what you said earlier about the facts or stories. And knowing, is this a story in my head? Or is this a fact of the situation? That in itself, that's a game changer for me.
Separate the facts from the stories. When you're upset, when you're frustrated, take the emotions. It can be hard when you're feeling strong emotionally to take that out of the equation. So you have to very intentionally look at a situation as, okay, what is it exactly that happened? And how did that thing make me feel? And when you're communicating, instead of saying, you stepped on my heart, or you
Blah, blah, blah.
made me feel this way. Like, nobody makes you feel any kind of way, but taking that, separating it out, like, this is a very specific thing that you did. This was an action that you did. This was a specific set of words that you said. This is my perception of what that means. Now I want to know more from your side. Why did you say those things? Or tell me more about where that came from.
Yep.
Love
And that's
it.
great. I think it's great. And I think our conversation will kind of linger after this episode even ends, because kind of what we do. I think it's great for us to have the space.
Yeah. Let's keep it going. Let's have a lot more crucial conversations about all kinds of crap.
All right.
Yes. I mean, all kinds of stuff.
Yes. All the stuff. Did your son just language you? My son languaged me.
Yeah, I got languaged.
Yep. That's a
All the
conversation for a next sparked chaotic moment.
If you like what you're hearing, support the show at buymeacoffee.com/clearingchaos and subscribe to the show.